It should make every musician sad that this is not real music.
Well, what is real music?
We're going to have to say that to be okay with it, right? You are going to have to...
It's not human created, but it's still music.
Yeah, it is still music.
It's like a man-made diamond. Nature didn't create it. Man created it. But it still has every aspect of a diamond. It's still
so
made
it's
of the
really
same
just going to
thing.
become what you prefer.
Yeah, human or man-made.
Yeah. Which is kind of what we're used to that. We do that now with a lot of shit.
And it's funny.
You could do that with Doc Martens. You can buy a pair of $169. This is the warm-up. You can buy $169 black Doc Martens 3-eye loafers, right? Or you can buy the handmade England version for $320. Which do you want? Do you want the computer-made, factory-made? It's the same shit, right? Or do you want the handmade shoe? It's not really the same because the computer's doing all the shit and creating shit. But it's close. Sort of close. Sort of close. Maybe. No, it's not close at all.
If I was arguing the only difference, all right, let's just take the human man-made and a diamond. You could tell by if it's nature-made because it has flaws. A man-made diamond has no flaws. So, like, a professional can look at it and be like, this is man-made or this is nature-made.
I can do it with AI songs. I'm pretty close to doing it. Now I can. In the future, it'll get so good I probably can't. But right now, for the most part, I can listen to something, and you can't, especially these type of songs, because jazz is fluid. It flows. The tempo's not.
Oh, you could tell
with jazz,
with instrumental?
With jazz, you can, yes, because jazz has got so much more open space. A lot of jazz is where you don't play. That's what they say.
All right.
Like it's more of a discipline, right? Like it's more of dynamics and your rhythm section will flow. So your rhythm section being your bass and your drums will kind of do this. Speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down. But you can't tell.
It'll be
because
so
it's a fucking
minute.
song, yes.
Yeah.
But AI does not do it. Now it'll learn. It'll learn to do it, and it'll try to emulate it, and it'll probably get there. But right now, for the most part, you can hear it and be like, that's too perfect. That's not a I can't do it with the vocal stuff as much. But with instrumentals, like especially jazz, you can hear it. Voicemails?
Yeah, let's do some voicemails.
All right, buddy. I'll bring us back on this one. Good day, everybody. Thanks for coming back and hanging with us. All right, here we go. In 3, 2. Welcome back to A Corporate Time.
Let's do some voicemails.
Yeah, buddy. Voicemails. If you would like to leave us one, 1-844-TOMNDAN. If you call that number, we have a vanity answering service that you can leave a long message for us there, or you can get our free app with all of our content on there. Normally, everything is up to date on there. ACTs are on there. BDM shows are on there. The regular Friday Free Show. You can just go to your app store and download the free Tom and Dan app and leave, just with one click of a button, a message like this one right here. Oh, no, I hit the wrong button. Here we go. Now I'm doing it.
Hey, Tom and Dan, do you ever think like the grandkids of the guy in the Bitter Beer Face commercial try to like impress their friends and tell them that their grandpa was the guy making the bitter beer face in the commercial? I hope so.
Are you familiar with the Bitter Beer Face man? Is he talking about people that have like a grandpa mouth where they can pull their mouth up over their nose?
Oh, like
that's like a toothless person's carnival trick, right?
Yeah, like Ripley's Believe It or Not old man that they're like, do this in the mirror, and then there's they can see
Try
you.
to make the face of this old man. Try to pull your bottom lip over your nose.
So first, the answer is no,
Jelly
because
Roll,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I bet country music superstar Jelly Roll would love to be able to take his bottom lip and put it over his nose so he could just snot rocket the boogers right into his mouth. Disgusting.
So what's was there a campaign in the what year was that?
Beer Face Man. I'm going to get some answers here. Okay, I was right. 1995. It's a Keystone Light commercial. There he is. It's the first thing you see. Here, I'll pop this up so everybody that's watching us at Tom and Dan on YouTube. And
but he has no teeth, so he's able to bring his bottom jaw higher because there's no teeth in the way.
Yeah, he's got like a he's like a toothless carnival man, right?
You're waiting for your blind date. You're scanning the room. You've got minty fresh breath.
Looks like EJ.
You're oozing charm. Then it hits you.
Larry?
Don't let bitter beer make a bad first impression. Drink Keystone, America's least bitter beer, so there's never a bad taste, never a bitter face.
Take this. Commercials were better back in the day. Look at him. He's got a girl with big bazongas. He's dressed like Indiana Jones. He's looking at the mother. I almost cursed. He's dressed like Indiana Jones.
Yeah. What was the 90s?
Oh, way cooler.
90s were a special time.
They really were. I mean, this guy. Oh, there's a little bit more here. Let's see.
Bikini girls.
Stop making faces. Drink Keystone.
That's a funny commercial. Not bad.
Like, there was beer and liquor. That's it. That was your only wine, but that it was all beer.
I had no idea it was a Keystone commercial. I was not a Keystone drinker. That's a little...
There was 5 beers. You could have an option.
Keystone would have been one of my options because I put it in the category when I was a youthful man and drinking beer. You had your Keystones. You had your Natty
Coors.
Lights. Well, Coors is my favorite beer. Like that's my shop beer.
Yeah.
Like if I have I love craft beer. The craft beer, we all know it's the best tasting. Well, for me it is. But like if I just want to drink beer, it's Coors Light. But Red Dog.
Red Dog.
Remember Red Dog?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I put that in the Keystone category.
Do they still sell it in a tiny glass jar, or is that Mickey's Big Mouth?
I don't think they sell Red Dog anymore.
Didn't it come in a little glass like?
No, that's Mickey's Big Mouth. You nailed it. I mean, Mickey's Big Mouth is correct, but I don't believe they sell Red Dog anymore. I don't think that's a thing.
Do you think that any of this generation will be impressed? Like, if we go back and analyze this gentleman's question,
I'm glad you're doing that. This is the second time in 2025 that we've actually followed back around to the question. And for the first 30 years of this podcast, we have never answered anyone's question accurately.
Because back in the 90s, when this commercial came out, having notoriety of any sort, even calling in to request something on the radio used to be exciting because it was the only way to get your voice out there heard by a lot of people if you weren't an entertainer.
Absolutely.
Without going through the insane
some would say it's the
reason
process. Some would say it's the reason Bob Zaney came on our show today, right? To get the word out.
And
blowtorch.
So you tell any young person in 2025, this is my grandpa. He was in a commercial for this, and a lot of people saw it. Like, so what? A lot of people saw my viral video I did 2 years ago.
But I'm an old man, so I still value the commercial more.
No, yeah. Old men do.
No, but even if...
But young kids, I don't believe, value notoriety as much.
Well, what if what's more professional? I mean, like, I just watched a TikTok video of a little girl who is dancing a TikTok video, and then in the background is her nude mother sitting on the toilet. That her mom didn't know she was being videoed, right? Yeah. So you mean to tell me that that's just as valuable as the guy that starred in a Miller Lite commercial? I would say the fact that you had a production team filming it, even if they don't believe it's more powerful, then that's just they're fools.
Well,
this is more of a...
It's modern day perception of, if you're just talking about...
But it's flawed, isn't it?
Notoriety.
Because we have learned that the most eyes really mean nothing. I mean, where's Hawk Tua now? I don't even think she's doing her podcast anymore, dude. After the crypto dump scheme that she did, she's fallen. Like, she hasn't done any more episodes. There's no more episodes because she fell off.
Well, it's all fleeting, though, too. But I'm just saying more...
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It doesn't mean... It used to be valuable and be rare to ever have the opportunity for anybody to know who you are. And now it's like, it's just not as rare because it just scattered all over the place. And views, people have 1 million views on stuff, and no one even knows who they are, but they're like, some million people saw you.
What's changed is who we look at, right? So like, to go with your argument, if you're in a commercial, since less people watch commercials, it's kind of like the math we were doing on talk radio shows versus podcasts. So, what is it, 4.61 million podcasts, 2,000 between 2,000 and 7,000 talk radio shows in North America.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big difference.
Well, I was telling Max and Tommy there were a video of like Tommy was in that video that got submitted to Only and Dade of the Miami Christmas of
I
Dre
actually
Dancegram.
saw it on. I went there and saw it before it.
It disappears after a while
because it's a story. But I went there and I gave it hearts, giving it some love.
But before it even, the fact that it disappears it means it's a nothing. But before it disappeared, it had hundreds of thousands of views, right?
Yeah.
So I told Tommy, I'm like, hey, you were on a video that had, let's say 400,000 people viewed it, and
at least
hundreds of thousands liked it or whatever,
Yeah, it was way up there when I saw it.
And Tommy's like, oh, okay. Right. It's not. He's not like, whoa, because it just
Max didn't move the needle.
Well, he wasn't there.
Gotcha. That's right. He was sick.
But so think about like back in the 90s. If you called in to request a song and then they aired your request or whatever, or you were on the news, it would be a big deal. Like, whoa, it was on the news. And back then, 20,000 from
I was
a local
in the newspaper.
audience.
I was in the newspaper for playing flute at Stetson University.
You cut it out, and you're like, look at the newspaper.
Yeah. I was there. I was in the newspaper for the first time when I studied flute at Stetson. Under the Suzuki method, which is you learn you don't really read music, you just memorize notes.
Okay.
And that's how I was trained by the Suzuki method's protege, like some name, like he was like it's like a Japanese name. Like this guy was like the biggest deal in flute, and he comes to Stetson, and then they had to choose a boy or a girl, I guess, but they had to choose a boy to perform with him on the main stage, and I was selected because I looked like a little angel baby. I had the little white blonde hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your boys. I look like Max.
Yeah.
Look at me now, horrible. But I look like Max. I had the time, and I had the little bowl. I had the Will Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And imagine that holding a flute. That'll melt your heart, right? Oh my God, how cute! Like tiny little OP corduroy shorts. I got a tiny little polo on. I'm up there playing with a Japanese flute master. Are you psycho? That was insane. Nobody did that in a sleepy little town of DeLand, Florida. There I am, fluting away.
Oh. I imagine, I hope that it's the same Suzuki family, like their brothers.
No.
One went dirt bike, street bike, the other went flute.
No, a lot of Suzukis. There's a lot. Let's go with this one. Right. This is one of the hottest topics we've had lately. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of batteries.
Yo, Tom and Dan, it's your boy Cadillac Pat. I forget your stance. What's your stance on batteries?
Now, we had that one that Pat called in. Then we had this one. Again, Pat gets a lot of airtime.
You guys were talking about batteries the other day and why they haven't gotten a lot better. And this is one of those things where, technology improves so quickly for so many things that, we wonder why hasn't everything improved at the same rate. But some of these things like batteries, it's really hard to improve them because it's simply a matter of physics. It's almost a miracle that batteries exist at all. You basically take a chemical or a couple of different chemicals, a metal and a couple other electrolytes or whatever, you arrange them in a physical shape that then will create a circuit and move electrons between one set of chemicals and the other set of chemicals, or one end of the battery to the other, and there's only so many chemicals that will do that, and they only have so much energy density. And that's why you have the difference between like your lithium-ion batteries that are rechargeable and have a really high energy.
You want to step in
hold
here?
on.
Is he making you hot? Is he making you hot? You're having to take your sweater off.
So
You're getting hot in here.
And
Do people that are smarter than us make you hot? They make me hot. I always heat up when someone smart's talking to me. I'm like, shut up, it's hot in here.
Well, I have suspicions if this gentleman's actually that smart.
He did say, he said miracle. A miracle, like my dad used to say, like a miracle. It's a miracle.
Yeah. It's just like magnets. Magnets a miracle too. The point being that we've all heard that batteries have gotten lighter and more strong, right? Like like battery technology. That's why like drones can fly longer, and like battery operated cars can drive longer. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
It's
They
like,
are improving it.
It's
yes.
like the battery has gotten lighter and then more powerful or more efficient, right? And
Gotcha.
so that's been a thing. But why hasn't the AA have gotten more efficient and more powerful? If you can make a giant battery more smaller and more efficient, why can't you make a regular AA more efficient and last longer?
I hate to do this because I know that the listeners hate it. They do hate this. But I know for a fact that there are different Tesla models that have batteries that are preferred over other models. So based on what I know about driving an electric car and what you're saying, you're correct. There are different variations, and there is rapidly increasing and better battery technology. So Tom's simple question is, he's not saying that you guys are wrong. He's just saying you would think
a AA
that if
would
they're
work.
improving car battery technology, there's less people that have Teslas than use AA's, correct? We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
So you would think that AA technology at some point would get rapidly better, or has it, and we're just taking it for granted.
That was my question.
Yeah,
And
I'm trying to explain it to the people that get mad at
From
you.
1995 AA, right? Okay.
Well, I mean, I had AA's
Same
in
size.
'86 when I was playing with my stompers. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. 1986 and now 2025
Yeah.
AA. Is there a significant difference
gotta be.
in how powerful
There
they are,
has to
how
be.
long they last?
There has
Because
to be.
there's no noticeable difference in society. And that I've ever heard someone say, like, man, these AA's last 10 times longer than when I was a kid. No one's ever said that to
They're
me.
calling me the Tom Whisperer now. The only
Wait, you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. The only thing that I would say is that they added, and okay, I'm going to throw this out there, and I know we got to get out of here, but I'm going to throw this out there. Do you remember when Duracell added this strip where you could put your index finger on the top of it and your thumb on the back of it, and it would connect the circuit, and then there's a little strip on the side that tells you how much energy is in the battery?
Yes, yeah.
When that came out, my father and I both agreed, because he was still alive, that to use the tester is wasting the battery.
Because you're leaking energy.
Correct. I was like, don't put that on. I don't want that on my battery. You're leaking it everywhere. There's batteries all over the place.
It's like
now.
getting your credit score.
Yeah, exactly.
It
You
goes
don't get my
down.
credit score. Don't check it. Leave it alone. You're not supposed to. Every time you check it, you lose 7 points. I don't know. But that we were convinced of that. So there you go.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. What's up, guys? How are you? Hey, let me save this real fast. And
Nice to meet you.
it's very nice to meet you.
Come grab a seat.
Thanks for coming in, guys. I'm just going to use the restroom really, really fast, and then we'll get moving. But let me turn on Scotty. Scotty is on green mic. Yeah, we'll put you over there if that's okay with you. Very nice to meet you.
And we figured that
Hi, I'm Dan.
Hi.
Thanks so much for
we
coming in.
we would do this segment. We do this.
We love Scotty.
We do this weekly
the best.
segment on Wednesdays called Weird Job Wednesday, and it's really just everybody's got a weird and interesting job, pretty much across the board. So we figure we'd make this a kind of a Weird Job Wednesday where we just interview you about being the
Oh, good,
director
because
of the
I
History
am like
Center.
4 weeks in, and I was telling Scotty, I'm like, okay, let's
She's still learning about her
I'm
weird
still
job.
learning
No,
about
no,
it.
and that's
I can
perfect.
talk about my background because what's
Yes.
interesting is like it's a very unusual trajectory that I had in terms
Exactly.
of getting into this role, and I think that was something I feel like, especially like I was a first generation, and so a lot of people there's a traditional path, and maybe I can kind of talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
perfect. And
With
we
your
are
dad
on
in
right
the
now
Navy,
too.
was that
My dad was in the
to
Navy.
do-
That's an interesting little tidbit. I
Okay.
can talk
Is
about
it
my dad.
did it have to do with the Navy station here, or was he?
Yeah, well,
okay.
no, and NES Jacks. So,
Oh, okay.
so
That's
my
right, that's
dad-
right,
Both of my
Jackson,
parents immigrated from the Philippines, which is
Okay.
It might be a good historical context since I'm working for history museums
Yeah.
for the history of like my background.
Yep.
But yeah, so I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and my sister was born and raised in San Francisco because my dad was in the military. So
Okay.
she was born in California. I was born here, and that's pretty much I'm Florida native born. So
Okay.
I was
Awesome.
born and raised in
Awesome.
Florida.
Either wear these or not. I
Okay.
feel like I'm getting ready to sing "We Are the World." So
Do I need to? I don't know.
There's
if I
some-
can.
there's some,
You look at you have to look at how mad Huey Lewis is
right.
when
all these different stories.
I
for
think
that,
it's when
right?
Cyndi Lauper goes that wow 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 wow. She starts like screaming, and he's like, ugh. Like Huey Lewis's face because he's like a soul singer. He's like, oh my God, this woman. Oh, look at that. That's almost good. I almost got it. Look at that. Almost first hit.
Wow. Perfect.
We're getting there, man.
You look great.
2025 is, yeah, right? We don't normally have attractive people in here. All right. Comedy. Look, we're doing it. All right. Okay. I think we're good, Scott. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
This will be
Can you guys hear okay? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This will be for Wednesday 1 tomorrow.
Wednesday 1. All right. I'll keep that. All right. Would you like to begin?
Sure.
And we're just doing the original, right?
Yeah. We'll
And then
do
I'll
that.
probably cut it.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. And 3, 2.
Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube right now, and we'd love for you to join us. Just go to either of those sites and search at Tom and Dan Live, like and subscribe. That's what the people say.
And this Saturday at one of our brand new watering holes, 1010 Brewery, which we've known Mike, the owner of 1010, for a lot of years.
He gave us a shot when nobody else would, and we were like, hey, we don't have any money, and we need some beer. And Mike was like, hey, I'm a distributor. This keg fell off the truck.
Yeah. And we watched him start his brewery. Yeah.
And we watched him start his brewery, kind of like we started this show, and it's really good to see him. He's really kicking butt, man.
And this Saturday, they're doing an amateur rib contest, live music, beer, of course, delicious 1010 beer, charity raffle, and you can eat some delicious ribs.
Yeah.
And that is this Saturday, January 11th at 1010 Brewery. So let's get into some weird jobs.
All right, buddy. It is time for the Weird Job Wednesday theme song. Oh, it's not going to play.
No,
No, I can do this. I can play this. Hold on, watch this. Watch this. Let's see if I can do this. Weird.
Or you could sing it again.
No. That's what happened last time, and I didn't fix it. I knew I was forgetting something. Watch this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right here. I'm gonna be able to do it. Weird job right here in front of one of the people that I didn't want to do this in front of. You don't want to drop the ball. You don't want to drop the ball. It's somebody important. Somebody important's here, Dad. You're dropping the ball. So we're gonna have to go back into the Wayback Machine, and we're gonna do this one right here. Sorry.
What is this one?
It's a listener sent in one.
Oh, okay.
It's real bad. But this is a little bop, right? This is a bop.
I don't remember. I remember we used to play listener submitted ones before AI.
When I mess up, we're back to doing it, right? Here we go.
Tom had a crazy idea.
Oh, God.
Oh, for a brand new Tom and Dan bit. Danny totally loved it.
I picked the wrong one, didn't I? Yeah, let's go ahead and say that out. Yeah, I did pick the worst one. I did.
Why is it even saved?
I don't know. I can't even understand what that man is saying.
Parentheses, bad, the worst one we've ever had.
Yeah, that is the worst one. I have a feeling that our listeners are gonna really wear me out for this one. But hey, why don't you introduce our guest, sir?
So we have the brand new executive director of the Orange County Regional History Center, Azalea Santana. How you doing, Azalea?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here.
So now
I'm glad you didn't say her name the way I was going to say it. I was going to blow it.
So let's talk about how you became the executive director of the History Center, because it's a pretty interesting job, which I really don't even. I know what an executive director kind of is, kind of like the CEO, maybe, but maybe I'm wrong. Like I
was also kind of peeping your LinkedIn a little bit, and you've had some pretty cool jobs. I mean, you've done some stuff.
Yeah.
And one of them being, like curating privately. That sounds truly insanity to me, and sounds super fun and cool. So, hey, nice to meet you, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Well, it's a very interesting profession. I think for me, I've always loved being in arts and culture. And so going to the History Center has been one of my dreams, to be able to be involved in working with collections directly and working with exhibitions and the awesome staff that we have. Scotty's here today with us. And so we're really excited. But I have a very interesting, unusual way that I went into being in my current job today. Like I went to University of Florida, it was my undergrad. My actual degree is actually art history and studio art. Cool. I got a master's in business because I really wanted to see, just have a degree that I think could be universal for a lot of different professional fields. And then it was a lot of fun. I met my husband in college. I really wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with an art history degree. Usually you go into teaching, you go into curatorial work.
I was doing a music degree. You get made fun of a lot.
Yeah.
Like your friends that have degrees that they feel are more, I don't know, worthy or valuable. They are like, oh, music guy. Huh? Then I chose like radio, and that's even worse than music. I found out.
When my sons maybe eventually go to college and they choose an art degree, I'm going to be like, no! That may be wrong to say.
All of my friends did like your degree. Like
It's
all
funny.
of my friends were artists.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I went to UF as a pre-med major. I was going to go into medicine.
That's what I'll be real mad.
Yes.
They go into college to be a doctor,
You did the
and I'm like, yes.
switch? Oh, no, you did the switch?
And they're like, I'm switching to art. I'm like, oh, no!
That's the 180, right? When you're going the med lane.
I'm like,
and
it'd be better if you just stopped at all.
And then you just throw it in reverse and put a beret on.
It's
Oh
true.
my
It's
God.
true. I had to break the news to my parents. My parents are from the Philippines, and so
They must have been
were
mad.
they were like, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor. What are you going to go into? And then pre-med was the route that I was going to take, and then I switched majors my junior year of college.
That
Yes.
Oh
long
my
into it?
God! Oh my
Yes.
God! I did that too. I transferred my junior year. Oh, we got a lot in common.
Yes.
You can make your parents mad doing
Yes.
stuff like that. I went from
Yes.
Flagler private school. I'm like, I'm going to UCF radio. Oh.
Yep. Yeah. So it was what was really the entree for me switching majors is I was in a dance and medicine course. It was offered. UF has a really wonderful arts and medicine program. And it was
It's
sort
called
of
dance and medicine.
Well, it was a class. It was a class as part of the arts
But I'm
and
on
medicine
my
program.
medicine. I'm dancing.
Yeah. And because I was a former dancer, I was in a dance company when I was in high school, and so I thought this would be a fun class to take. It was a great elective for my pre-med track.
Yeah.
And ended up switching altogether. It was like my entree into thinking more about the arts, and then I ended up minoring in visual arts, and then that became a whole major. So for me, it was really a segue into really finding what I truly loved and not necessarily the path that I thought I should have taken.
So you needed to
Yeah.
hear this, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
He's obsessed and concerned with his sons finding that right thing.
Yeah.
And for some people that are highly successful currently in front of us, they take a little bit of time to wander the scape to figure out what they're going to do. They don't have to have it figured out immediately.
Yeah.
I just want to point out success stories here to help your anxiety. Because he is sort of obsessed with the wanderer, the person that when they do go to UF and their first major, they don't like. When I first got to Flagler, I didn't declare. I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Now, there's a little difference between my sons, the eternal wanderers, and you, who just got into one thing, achieved, and then achieved the next thing, and then I'm going to achieve at this, achieve. There's an achievement aspect of this that is like, well, as long as you achieve at everything you do, you'll be fine. But if you just keep wandering and never even pick anything you want to do, like, what do you want to do? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Because it does sound like you are an achiever and you know, a dancer, and then you're like, oh, pre-med. Even all of my friends, including me, pre-med was never even on the table. Like, no one even jokes, even had the fantasy. We never even thought that being a doctor was at all possible. You might have been I want to ride the dragon from Neverending Story. It would be the same as saying I want to become a doctor.
Actually, there are some replicas of Falcor, I believe.
You're right.
We can make that happen.
Yeah. That's closer.
It is easier to do that.
Easier than being a doctor.
There's a guy out in Eustis that actually has one of the last movie quality white mega dog.
Wow.
Whatever they are.
Yeah. This it's interesting because now you end up being the executive director of the History Center and having a diversified background in a lot of different areas does make you uniquely qualified to be because the history, history is broad. It's not just if you're.
Well, it's also good and bad too. I mean, there's sometimes you're doing exhibits on stuff that it's like this is something that we're remembering because it's not good. And then you're doing stuff on, hey, we're remembering this because we can't let it be forgotten because it's so incredibly awesome and people don't value it anymore,
But it is also, it's the history of art, a history of science, is all history. It encompasses everything. So having, being a Renaissance woman with knowing a little bit about everything does make it probably easier to, just understand the concept of like, all right, we need to celebrate the history of everything.
Do you have a favorite style of art that, like, when you were studying?
Oh, it's so funny.
question.
We had this question earlier, and I can't say. It's like asking what's your favorite artist. I think for me, I do gravitate more towards contemporary art. When I was at the Orlando Museum of Art, I was an associate curator there, and I had so much fun working with like living artists and really curating shows that really resonated to the community. And that's just what I love, like learning more about like what were they thinking when they painted this, or what was the thought process in developing their specific process. So I would say contemporary art is really my favorite, but I really do have an appreciation with the classics,
Now, if you ask me my favorite artist, it's Snoop Dogg. Here's why. Because when I first saw Snoop Dogg, it was murder was the case. He was convicted of murder. And then in 2024, Snoop Dogg, the mascot of the United States Olympics. He has a range.
He does have a range.
And that's an unbelievable artist to me.
You're actually saying something that's actually quite serious. The artist for all of Snoop Dogg's albums, especially his legendary breakthrough Doggy Style, he just passed away like at the end of 2024.
No, really?
Yeah, and he is like a legendary guy. And if anybody in Orlando, any of our art partners that we work with, because we are the center of art in Orlando, Tom and Dan, we got to get this Snoop Dogg. We got to get this guy's collection into our town.
Do you know
because
his
he has
name?
all the album. I'd have to Google it, but yeah, I'll Google it. But
Very important.
Yeah, I'll get the name for you. I'll write it down. I promise. We got to get that guy. We got to get those Snoop Dogg pictures in here, man.
Now, Azella, what even made you decide that this was a job that you'd want to do? Because I know that for like the past 10 years, you're going to work for yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so when I had the major that I did, I graduated with art history. It was one of those situations where, well, what am I going to do with it, right? I ended up, wanting to do something that I realized I was more of a social person. At some point, I did an internship in art conservation. I had this degree. I also had some science background with my coursework as an undergrad student, and thought maybe I could test art, art conservation. Did an internship. Highly recommend internships because it tells you whether or not you like something or you don't. And I realized it was not as I'm a social person. I like to be around people. I like to interact and like collaborate. And it was a very much like you're in your studio, you're working really closely with the objects. And as much as I love that I was very detail oriented, it was something that I knew I couldn't do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I needed a little bit more complexity in my professional, career. And so for me, I moved back to Orlando. My husband and I moved back to Orlando, and was able to get my foot in the door at the Orlando Museum of Art. And that was really my entree into working in museums. And I realized I loved it. I worked with the kids. I worked in the education department.
Awesome.
I was a docent. So I allowed me to kind of learn all the aspects of working in education, but really kind of set the tone as to like, this is what I want to do, and learning about, how to curate exhibitions and how to work with partners across the board. And just really solidified my love for working in a museum. And so that's kind of essentially where I ended up here. I was at UCF for 10 years, loved it. The University of Central Florida was just a really great university. There was a lot of collaborations happening, and it really kind of built a lot of the opportunity for me to learn more about collaborations from a larger scale, but also how it's connected to education, and developed a lot of really great relationships there. And
That's awesome.
For me, the History Center was sort of like that next step to really see how all those components come together with my curatorial background and then philanthropy background, and then obviously working in education. It was really a great opportunity to see what I can do, and really work with a wonderful team. And the staff is amazing. Orange County government is just a really wonderful place to work at, and I'm just excited to be able to see what I can do with the team.
Well,
Yeah.
just after talking to you for 5 minutes, I'd hire you to be the president of this company.
I'd hire you to be the president of anything. My God. I feel very confident that with anything you tell me. You're like, do this. I'm like, yes, ma'am. I'm like, oh, yeah.
You mentioned you were a docent, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm too dumb to even understand what that is. I can't even guess what that is.
You said that, too, and I was like, docent. I was like, Trayson? I was, no.
Like, I don't even, what is a docent?
So a docent is essentially someone who's trained. Sometimes it's a volunteer. Usually it's a volunteer. A lot of our arts and culture organizations, especially museum institutions, rely on docents to help give and provide tours to educate the public about its collections, about its temporary exhibitions.
Oh, we need a docent here in the
Yeah.
studio.
The intern.
We need a hot 24-year-old docent giving tours of this place.
Yes.
Get out there, give a tour.
So it's an intern.
Yeah, there's people at the door. Take them and show them the bathroom. There's a lot of famous signatures in there. That's where the tour would conclude. We're gonna need a gift shop. We're gonna need a gift shop.
Yeah.
Exit through the gift shop. I've seen it.
I've seen it.
Yeah. It's like when
Mr. Paintbrush, or what is it? Mr. Brainwash.
Brainwash.
Yeah, Mr. Paintbrush.
Mr. Paintbrush.
Oh my God, I'm becoming dumb.
That might be Snoop Dogg's artist.
Yeah, Mr. Paintbrush. Yeah, that's him.
So you worked at a museum, the Orlando Art Museum, and then
We love those guys.
And then, so what are some of like I'm sure when you came over to the History Center, you thought to yourself like, what am I gonna bring? You know, like if I was a new like executive director, first thing, clean house.
You have to. You have to.
Wait a second.
You have to.
Sorry, Scotty.
Sorry, Scotty's not gonna like this, but you have to.
I'm trying to get your job.
You
now.
also have to let.
She's way better of a boss than I am.
Much like Rex Ryan, who is super confident that he's going to get that Jets gig again. He has said that he ain't going to let old Aaron Rodgers, if he comes back, do this whole like, I ain't coming to practice because I got an ayahuasca hangover. He is going to say that ain't going to fly.
By the way, I like how he's like, you know what? The Jets were bad 20 years ago when I was the coach. I'm going to be bad again when 20
I'm
years
coming
later.
back, baby.
I was like, what is that going to do?
I have a question for you. What is the absolute? So what's the patient one starting point? How do you curate? Like, how do you even start when somebody comes and they have a collection and they want to like, how do you even? Is it like selecting songs on a set list? Like a band would do? Like, how do you present it in the right order so you're telling the story that the artist is trying to tell with their collection? It seems like something that maybe you don't ever think you got right.
No, I mean, I think it obviously depends on the type of exhibitions you're curating. You know, obviously I'm at the History Center, so you think about the objects that you have in your collection if you're curating from your collection. But I think every curator is different. Every curator has their own style, and they also have their own like interests, right? And so for me, when I was curating, you know, when I was at the OMA, I started curating some small exhibitions of works of artists living in the community. And it was a small little gallery space. It was free to the public. And it was more about showcasing their work as an artist and their process. But I think every curator, when they're looking at objects, they're looking at an idea. And a lot of it stems from an idea, you know, or maybe it's a subject matter that they want to present through the curation of an exhibition, you know, and that could mean bringing in different artists. It could be bringing different objects and working with writers to kind of see like how's the best way to present this material. And I feel like, especially in Central Florida, we have so many talented curators in our community, so many arts and culture organizations that are doing really cool work. I highly encourage, you know, although I'm at the History Center and I want to promote the History Center as much as I can, I feel like there's so much opportunity to be able to see and witness a lot of the different exhibitions that pinpoint a lot of different things and facets about Central Florida. And I think for me,
you nailed it. Like what we've learned in working with a lot of art partners, including the History Center, is that once you go to one, you want to go to the others and support them all. It becomes that sort of thing. And because these are things that especially with our show, what I've heard with our listeners is that we really overlooked, and I think most people do, but you really overlook these type of institutions within your community and how much of a value, how cheap some of the things you can do, some of the free things they offer that you don't take advantage of. You know, like the Thursdays and stuff like that, where you can go and you can like do something you've never ever done before, and you're not really, you're not in you're not like feeling bad later because you were $70 in, you know?
Right.
It's also I've found recently, and we'll talk about the history of punk rock and what you guys are doing coming up. Because when I saw we were talking about you bringing in someone from the Punk Rock Museum from Vegas.
Yeah,
So me and
that's
Daniel
huge.
remember when it opened.
Yeah, we did.
So when I start seeing like super interesting things that I'm interested in, like the history of punk rock, because I remember, and then it reminds me how old I'm getting because now, the Orange County Regional History Center is bringing up history that I'm interested in, because I think people you grow up and when you're young, you look at history like, why are these people interested in all this history? And then all of a sudden you get to middle age, and then you're now
Because
a
you're too
part
busy
of it.
making it.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I remember that in my 20s. Like this
Well, when
was.
you slow down, you're
I'm part of
making
this.
less history, right?
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
enjoying what was made.
And then there's human psychology around history becoming more important as you age, which is interesting too. I remember, I brought my sons down to Marco Island, and their great grandparents are a part of Marco Island's local history museum down there, and they've got a room dedicated to them, and because they were such a part of building that community. And I was, my sons, they're 9 and 10, and they don't have the perspective yet to appreciate.
Like to me, I'm like, holy crap, that's insane. Your grandparents, your great grandparents have a room dedicated to them in the history center of Marco Island. And the kids are like,
because
whatever.
Because they can't even comprehend it because they're not old enough to
No
have the
concept.
life experience to appreciate something like that. And I feel like you get to an age where you're like, oh, now I could truly appreciate what is being shown to me in the history, because you start.
I have to. I'm dying.
You're a part of it.
I'm dying. I have to appreciate this stuff before I die.
Yeah. And so I'm sure there's and I'm sure you guys have seen that too. There's a certain age where people really truly appreciate it more.
Are you still are you seeing younger people? What would you guys say?
I would say that, but more what I've observed, it's just been a year and a half for me there at the History Center, but one of the things that I've observed is what Tom is talking about, where people begin to realize they are living history. They have lived history, and it's one of the things we've come on the show to talk about. Orlando Collected. I think that's going to be something we'll be emphasizing there, is that these objects, people had them in their attic, in their closet, and since I've been at the History Center, I've donated things that were personal belongings, an NSYNC ticket. I was at the last ever NSYNC concert, things like that, you wonder why you were holding on to it. And then
I
it
wonder
turns
if my
out,
wife was at that.
Well, it's like the Music Mayhem. It's like, so many local people live that.
Exactly.
We know Jim, and there's so many. I was like,
people
it's
I
a part
know.
of this.
Yeah.
You start remembering. Oh, I remember when the Descendants came into town, and you start looking at flyers, and you're like, and you're truly a part of it. But then it makes you feel old because you're like, oh, it's 25 years ago. 25 years.
Yeah. There's that too.
But it's
very
important, and you appreciate it.
Well, it's an earmark. I like that. Selfishly, I know that in the last couple of years, Tom and I have had the opportunity to work more with you guys. Yeah. And selfishly, I like it because it gives me the opportunity to almost slow down, and I get to see my own city propped up, things that I don't want forgotten.
Absolutely,
like the figurehead and stuff that we've been a part of, that I look at it and I'm like, man, it's a good thing that this is here. Because I'm the type of person where if something's very sad to me, or when my parents passed away, I kind of took all those memories, I sold everything, I just got it out. But that was wrong. It was probably not the right thing to do, I look back on that now and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should have just had somebody else do it, because it needed to probably be handled properly, not just flush it down the toilet kind of thing. So I don't know. There's my, Jerry's final thought.
So if we're kind of doing a weird job, and being the executive director of a history center is kind of weird.
It is very weird. It's a positive thing.
No, it's unusual.
It's
it's unique. Whereas I've only met
I've
one.
met one of one.
But
with a cool name. So
do you talk to other executive directors of other history centers that are regional and find out what they're doing?
Swap ideas.
Is there a collective collective of executives that are like, hey, this is what all the different Florida history centers are doing, and they all kind of do, or is it every man for himself?
Or do you want to be the best and crush all the other ones?
I would say I'm very collaborative, and there is sort of a consortium where executive directors can reach out to each other, especially when you're in a position where you're really overseeing an organization and you want the best for that organization, and the exchange of ideas, like what's happening over there, like how can we collaborate? Are there ways that we can make a larger impact through partnership? And I think in the Central Florida, it's been so welcoming. I worked at the University of Central Florida. I worked at the OMA, and every time with those organizations, it's always been an opportunity to work with the leadership to kind of learn more about what's been happening in their organization and how can we work together. And that's what I love about it. It's what I love about Orlando. I think, I have 2 daughters, and so, for me, it's helping to kind of cultivate that next generation. Of kids that are going to grow up in Orlando. But I feel like there is a huge support system in our organization. And for me, there's a lot of learning. We're growing fast, and we have such amazing leadership. We're currently in a campaign right now with United Arts, and Jennifer Evans is an amazing leader and has been really connecting all the organizations together universally. And so for us and for myself, being able to kind of confide and, have conversations with other executive directors within the community has been really critical. And it's a lot of fun. I like to learn about what they're doing. I like to, learn more about, where can we grow together as a community.
I wonder what they would do to me if I declared myself Baldwin Park Executive Director of History. I'm the Executive Director of Baldwin Park History.
I think they would say you can have it.
There's literally no, there's a void.
Well, it was
of
a
history.
naval
There's great
base.
history here. Actually, Brendan
the people
is.
here are horrible here.
Brendan is.
Have you met any of the people that live around here? Oh my God, they're monsters.
Well, I've met people who work here.
Yeah, I live here. I live.
Yeah, but they don't want us out of
They
here.
don't want me here. I don't belong here. They hate me. You know what they call me? They call me the hillbilly. They call me the little hillbilly.
We put out a magazine twice a year called Reflections, and the 2 issues for 2025 are going to be Orlando-centric. And so we've asked Brendan, my other half, Brendan O'Connor, to write a piece about Baldwin Park, which I still call on I'm going on Baldwin Park, because to me I was going on the naval training station, and when you would go on base when you were talking about it. But so talking about that whole history and then how it led into this, and it was one of the things he studied when he was going to Rollins.
There's live ammo everywhere.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
This whole place just
There's
just
bombs
scattered.
in Lake Baldwin.
There's bombs.
That's what I
So
heard.
this is where you live too,
Yeah.
right?
I live 1 block outside of Baldwin Park.
Okay, good.
Probably
You should tell
more
people
ammo.
that. You should probably tell people that. Well, live ammo. There's more. Oh, you go that direction? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
matters
Oh,
what
that-
direction. I run around here, and 1 block in some ways are.
Okay. If you go right, if you're going right, you run fast. If you go left, you're fine.
What I like about Florida history is that if you go back far enough, underwater.
Yeah.
so there's that actual start. It was like, oh, dry, and then I was starting.
Yeah. And here we go. Put your hat on. Hey, thanks so much for coming in
Oh my
today.
gosh,
You were
thanks
so
for
fun.
having me.
This is awesome. I'm really excited for you guys. This is going to be cool, man.
Yeah, no.
It's always cool to get new, young, cool people in there to kick ass.
And Scotty, let's talk about some of the upcoming events.
Yeah.
Sure.
In January, because me and Daniel, when we saw that I guess is it the director of the Punk Rock Museum?
He's one of the founders.
One of the founders.
And that also was in Less Than Jake.
Yes.
But he's one
founding
of the
member.
founders who's going to, and he's from, lives up north in Florida. Jeremy Heilman, who was the curator of Figurehead, he made this connection, and
Is
we're
that
going to
the
have a
main-
program.
That dude's got the juice, man.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just calling all the favorites.
Is that the manager we met
Yes.
when Les and Jake was playing
Yes.
the Orlando City?
the guy that is in the thing that was sent over? We've met that guy. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah.
know. We don't know him, but we met him. Yeah.
And that'll be January 18th. That is part of admission. So when you pay admission to the History Center that day, you can go to that program. Before that, related to Figurehead, we're going to have Bootleg TV, which was this TV show during that time that was dedicated to the music scene. And this guy has all this footage of film from that time period. And that's going to be shown And I believe he's going to be speaking about it as well.
So like,
but that's going to be on
concert footage, or-
Thursday, so that's free, as you guys know.
Absolutely.
After 5 o'clock, we're free, and you get to see that as part of it. This is all winding down because February 2nd is going to be the last day for Figurehead, so don't delay and come see us.
Yeah, and Scotty brings up a great point. Every third Thursday, it's free. Admission's free after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and we're open till 9.
Yeah, and so you get 4 hours to explore the Orange County Regional History Center.
It's awesome.
And then just become a member. That's the easiest way to do it.
Well, that way you won't miss out when something hits like. And there's going to be a bunch of people that want to see it. You're already taken care of.
You also get this cool card that you can just whip out at parties, and people will be
I do
like,
that all the
wow,
time.
look at you.
I do that. Look at this. I do that with everything I belong to. I do that with medical marijuana, bungalow buddy, all of them. I'm like, look,
My bungalow keychain keeps getting stolen. Brendan's always like, hey, give me your keychain.
I got an extra one over there. I got an extra one over there if you want it.
Azella, thanks so much for coming in.
We
really
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
Thanks you guys so much.
Thanks for
Scotty,
having us.
So much
always
fun.
a pleasure, and we can't wait to see what you guys do.
Yeah.
Yep. And we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure, and we'll be right back with more Corporate Time.
All right. We're still on Twitch and YouTube, but we're done recording. Great
Cool.
job.
Thanks, guys.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it, y'all.
Thank you for having
That was
us.
super fun.
Hopefully I didn't.
Oh, you were awesome. The chat room very much liked you.
Oh, good, good.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing I should
I didn't realize
warned
they
you
were in the
about.
chat
Is the-
No. You know what? I'm going to do something I normally don't do. I'm going to tell you exactly what they said. They think you're beautiful, and they said your eyebrows are on point. So I'm just going to tell you the truth.
Oh, my eyebrows.
Your eyebrows. They said your eyebrows on point. They always judge everybody's eyebrows because you're mean, horrible people. But they said yours were awesome. So there you go. Is that it?